A reflection for the 23rd Sunday after Pentecost. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. From today's Gospel. At that time, as Jesus was speaking to the multitude, behold, a certain ruler came up and adored him, saying, Lord, my daughter is even now dead. But come lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. And Jesus, rising up, followed him with his disciples. And behold, a woman who was troubled with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, if I shall touch only his garment, I shall be healed. But Jesus, turning and seeing her, said, Be of good heart, daughter, thy faith has made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. Something terrible happened to me this last week. I was left with sweaty hands, trembling, erratic behavior, wild eyes, panic. They're all symptoms of a very serious complaint. And that was losing my mobile phone. Even though for a few minutes or hours we have symptoms, don't we? Now, if you're one of these people who keep your mobile phone in the cupboard, can't remember where the charger is because you haven't used it for so long, well, you won't appreciate what I'm saying. You'll just have to empathize with those who are dependent, totally dependent on these gadgets. At some point, Saturday afternoon, I realized that I was bereft. Immediately searched the immediate vicinity, then further afield, and then anywhere I might have been since the last time I remembered using. Nothing. Repeated above. Then looked more thoroughly. Then silly places I hadn't been to. I couldn't ring it because I had the volume turned off. So I had to find a workaround, use a landline, use the internet instead of apps. After all, what did we do before mobiles were invented? But I couldn't really settle to anything. I made a meal and just look over there for a moment. There's something vital to our existence, and we've lost it. No, actually, we've lost him. Someone vital. We lost him, first of all, in the Garden of Eden. It's original sin. And we lost him with our first mortal sin after baptism. We are bereft. Down here, we might try to get by without him. We have workarounds, ways of trying to be happy. I can fill my life with good things without him. Mass was boring anyway. I'm paid more to work on Sundays. I didn't notice a difference when I stopped going to confession regularly. Well, the priest didn't know who I was when I wanted the forms for school to be signed. Well, no matter, we probably get in anyway. Sure, it was a bad moment when Mum was dying because she was upset that I wouldn't stay when the priest came. I gave her a good send-off anyway. Something missing, lost, here and now. That is our condition. It's a good image of purgatory too, because the pain of loss is traditionally considered to be one of the worst in purgatory. Not, of course, that we'll get into purgatory if we've lost Christ down here. And God, while we're here, is always ready to be found. All we need to do is ask him. He's nearer to us than, well, hands or feet, or in modern terminology, a mobile phone. He makes himself available. Look at the gospel. He could have raised the girl remotely. Perform miracles like that elsewhere. No, in this case, he was asked by the leader and he chose to walk there. And because he walked there, with the crowds around him, he was available for the woman with the hemorrhage to touch. Yes, whether we plead publicly on our knees like the ruler, or privately come up to him like the woman, he is available. But we can reject him, and those who do so can't expect their free will to be overridden by God. No. Luther didn't believe in free will by the end of his flight from Catholic truth. According to him, we are predestined, so we might as well relax. Heaven or hell, it's decided. No. Those who find their way to purgatory and thence to heaven do so because they have appealed to God's mercy, have found forgiveness and turned around, be it in their youth or before their final breath. How does the lost phone link with purgatory? Well, as time went by, I tried to calm down, sat down to compose myself. Where might it be? After a few moments, I heard that telltale sound of a notification. Just a brief vibration. What joy! I hadn't dropped it in the street. It wasn't being hacked into at this very moment in some Fagan's kitchen. It's somewhere in the room. There was a sense of joy. Thank you, God. But the thing is, it was still lost. But I was assured of finding it. In purgatory, there is the horror of the pain of loss. Cardinal Bacci sums up St. John Chrysostom on this topic. Pain of loss is the unsatisfied yearning to be united with the supreme good. It's a far more agonizing torment than the flames of hell. This is because the souls in purgatory, having been set free from the bodily confinement which prevented them from seeing the eternal truths in all their clarity, now experience an unceasing and irresistible need to be united with God. Being aware of their own imperfection, however, they undergo a terrible anguish at their inability to satisfy this burning desire. They love God with an immense love and long to enjoy his intimate friendship. But they realize that they will be rejected by his divine justice as long as they have not perfectly expiated their faults. That's their situation. Léon Bois, the French writer, said the only real sadness, the only real failure, the only great tragedy in life is not to become a saint. In one sense, he means those in hell, of course, because heaven is full only of saints. There's no greater tragedy than to end up in hell. The hell you've been persuaded doesn't exist, or where God wouldn't be so nasty as to send you, or which you judge you don't deserve. But it's a tragedy of this life not to become a saint down here too, or to die in God's grace without mortal sin on our soul. still in the need of cleansing fire. Fire which is spiritual, but no less real for that. What about the mobile? I found it at 10:30 in the evening. It was in the bathroom in the room above. So much for soundproofing. The loss was at an end. November is the month to pray for those who are not yet saints, but who have gone before us marked with the sign of faith. Their loss will come to an end. It will be turned into joy. God turns loss into gain for those who love him, for those who don't turn away. Let's make it our aim to be saints now, loving God and our neighbor, because that's the way to fulfill the law, because that's the way to find true happiness. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever.